FC25 has been out since the end of September, and I know for most people the game is probably starting to feel pretty repetitive and also pretty bland. If you're constantly playing 1 month of your save and then quitting, hopefully I can share some of my enjoyment of the game even though we are in May to help you enjoy a couple more saves before you give up the game. Some of these tips might seem fairly obvious to you, but some of them I've only learned thanks to playing career mode since 2004, so let's get straight into this video. Something I love to do personally to reignite my love for career mode is go back to older FIFAs and play a different career mode. Recently I've played a bunch of old career mode saves. There were some saves that I started back in 2013 and I've just recently finished them. Some of the saves were brand new ones with players that I didn't know at the time but are world class players these days. There's a phrase here in England that sometimes a change is as good as a rest, and when it comes to career mode, I think that is absolutely spot on. Because every year's game has different kind of gameplay, you can pretty quickly find the one that you like the most. You could then try and maybe go back to FC25 and use sliders to recreate that gameplay on the newer games, or of course, just start playing career mode back on FIFA 18 or FIFA 12, whichever one that you prefer. You could try and do some challenges too. Why not see if you could build the same team on several FIFA games? Maybe 1 year Balotelli's the hot young prospect, whereas on the other game he's a flop who's 33 years old and barely even worth signing. It's such a cool idea and something that, thanks to the amount of FIFA games that have been released, we can do, whereas other games, maybe you can't do that. If you've not played some of these older games, you can also experience dozens of new FIFA games one after the other and see where things improved or got worse. Some of the older FIFA games have features that people really want, things like stadium creators or sponsorship and ticket price selection, downloadable leagues thanks to Creation Center, but I think that's now offline anyway. There's more national teams for better World Cups on some of the older games, and leagues that aren't on FC25 like the Czech Republic, Colombia, Chile and Russia. But seriously, if you're bored of FC25, just go back and buy some of these older games if you don't already own them. You can find some of the older physical versions of these games for just pennies these days. If you go to a used game store, you can buy things like FIFA 19 for 50p, and it's just great value at that price. If you'd prefer to stay on FC25 though, why don't you just pick a fun challenge that isn't super serious? Having a light-hearted save that isn't all about using spreadsheets or AI or loads of graphics and submitting it on Discord is a really fun way of enjoying career mode again. I know I'm definitely guilty of always trying to do the most hardcore, ridiculous challenges over and over again, whereas sometimes just playing as Real Madrid is just a fun save. While you might not want to use one of these really good teams still in one of these kind of saves, why don't you try and see if you can have a squad where every player has 75 aggression or composure, or try and rebuild some former Wonder Kids careers in player career mode. I've been doing a lot of that recently on this channel, and I'm really enjoying those videos. You could also try and break one of those long-standing league records in one career mode. For example, try and beat Shearer's Premier League goals with a player from your academy, or beat Messi's 91 goals in a calendar year, Jamie Vardy's 11 goals in 11 games in a row, or Suarez's 10 goals in one calendar month. I had this kind of challenge in my mega career I did about a year and a half ago now, and these made the videos a lot more unique and also gave me a challenge to do while also enjoying some of the older games. It's really cool actually to combine one of these challenges with Create a Club. I think that this is one of the least used features in career mode. Create a Club can still definitely be fun. The kit combinations might look weird, and sure there's no sponsorship and general customization is a bit limited, but creating a club from your small town or your region or your county or your state and building them up to the top is still a really good way to stop some boredom. It could be a team that's based near you, it could be a former giant from your country that went bankrupt and then died, or it could be a totally new idea where you copy something from another country. It's a really good way to also use AI if you want a slightly more serious career. You could even maybe start the first AI-powered club in the world that decides your tactics, your club name, decides transfers based on information you're putting into something like ChatGPT. It could decide what your club looks like, where it's based. Everything could be powered by AI, and that could give you a cool sort of director of football above you kind of feeling, which you don't really get inside career mode these days. If you're on the other side of the fence, where usually you're doing these fun career modes where you're not really going for realism, then that can also be a really fun way to add some fun back to career mode. If you try realism for the first year and some realistic restrictions if you've never used them before, then that could be a really cool way to spice up your save. For example, you might have really enjoyed playing as someone like Inter Milan and signed a full squad of foreign players, but in real life, they're only allowed to have 3 in every squad. If you played in the MLS a lot, again, you might not be following the salary cap, and you might have had a team of superstars that really wouldn't be allowed to play together in the MLS. Most of these rules exist to make a league more fair, and when a league is more fair, usually that means the league is more fun to watch. In FIFA, that means the league is then more fun to play. So having these rules and hoping that the AI roughly follows them as well is a really good way of trying to make the save more fun. Of course, because AI teams don't follow them, it can be frustrating, but that also might add a little bit more challenge. And again, challenge is one of those things that I think makes saves more fun. If you want to try something totally different as well, that is also a really fun way of making the saves less boring. Some of my favourite saves this year have come from totally different areas of the world. I uploaded one with Athletic Bilbao that was really fun. It was only 3 seasons long and eventually I got fired, but that save was so fun trying to follow realistic rules. But then in my free time, I've also been rebuilding Australian League to try and win the Asian Champions League with all 10 teams. Now that sounds like it's a crazy challenge, and it was really tough to do. I think I got 4 or 5 in the end, but they're totally different ideas. One was very realistic, trying to do something that could happen in real life. The other one was just me trying to have as much fun as possible. So why don't you try a totally different challenge in a totally different league or continent? And if you feel super bored, you could combine this with a couple of the tips from this video or one of the other videos in the playlist that I'll link at the end of this video. A fully realistic create a club idea in a league you've never used on an older FIFA could be the exact save that you'll remember forever. Maybe you want to create a team from Mongolia that's playing in the Chinese league at the height of the Chinese Super League superstar era, and try and build a team full of Mongolian players. Sure, it's a crazy idea, but that sounds like it could be super interesting if you are getting bored of career mode. But my final tip is probably the most important one. If you're not enjoying career mode and you really don't want to play it, just take a break from it. Thankfully, FC25 isn't the only game out there, and I know from experience that when I'm bored of playing Football Manager, that's when I play career mode. When I get bored of career mode and Football Manager, I might try Ultimate Team or eFootball. When that's getting too annoying, I'll then go back to Football Manager and career mode. You can just loop through these games, and that keeps all of them fresh and all of them enjoyable. Just because you spent quite a lot of money on FIFA doesn't mean that you have to keep playing it. So of course, if you just want to watch FIFA content, subscribe to this channel, but if you want a total break from FIFA, that is totally okay as well. I promise when you come back, you'll enjoy career mode a lot more than if you slogged through this point and just got bored of it. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. That's 6 things that I do when I want to make my career modes not be as boring. I go back to older FIFAs, I pick a fun challenge that isn't so serious, I might create a club, try realistic rules, or just try something completely different, or maybe even take a break. But thank you for watching. If you've got any tips, leave them in the comments below. Really do appreciate every comment, subscribe, and like that you'll give me, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon, cheers, and goodbye.